Hey guys, this is John with Clausen's Canines with Class. So this video is going to talk about the introduction of a muzzle. I'm using a Baskerville brand, size 3. She probably is going to end up using a 4, but for this initial conditioning phase, it doesn't really matter. The reason why I'd go with size up is because I want her to get a full pant, and that's how if we're using it more long term, that's how the dog can cool off. All right, so always consider when sizing a muzzle, can your dog fully pant so that they can get cool in warmer environments or longer term use. All right, so right now we're just practicing with a size 3 Baskerville. What I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna put some peanut butter on the outside. I've done this 2 times already. She's a little hesitant about going in. So that's all I'm really gonna do. I'm gonna put some peanut butter on the outside and let her lick it. I don't wanna bring this muzzle out and it mean that we're gonna have confrontation, just put it on the dog. They have no clue what this is, excuse me, and I don't want to create a superstitious or association or a fear behavior when the muzzle comes out. I want them to look at this thing and see it, be like, oh man, that's when this guy puts peanut butter on this right now, and you know, I get to just hang out. All right, so this is how I always will warm her up. I'll put it also around it, and I'll let her go for this a few minutes here. And obviously we're not gonna stay in this stage, but initially I really wanna make them make a decision to engage with it. So if I just kind of like I said, try to rush this process, we're gonna get the opposite with some dogs where they'll be running away. And those are the kind of things I just wanna avoid, all right? So we're just letting her lick. And then for me, with her, she's a slow mover. So what I'll do is I'll usually put some peanut butter in the beginning of the entryway. So now we're starting to encourage, and I'll move it back too. So I'm just using a spoon here. This is a little sloppy, obviously, but it's part of the game, right? So now I have this thing kind of messed up with peanut butter, but I'm just gonna hold it out. The big thing here is we don't want to just be like, whoop, right? So I want her to make an active choice to come into this thing, and I'm not gonna rush it, it's no big deal. If I see that the peanut butter is stalling our progress, which sometimes it will because the dog knows they can go out here to get it, then I'll start feeding, which I have. We're gonna see how that goes today. I have some hot dog, and I'll start feeding through the front of the muzzle. But right now I'm just kind of, this is like I said, our third-ish session like this, and I don't see a lot of excitement to go in yet initially. It's more I want to lick around, I want to lick the outside, so that shows me maybe she's not quite ready to go in. But like I said, it also could be the peanut butter creating this little bit of a stall because I'm going really slow, but that's okay. I don't want to rush. There's no reason to rush this unless it's an emergency situation, but really you should take the time to condition it, and every dog is going to be different. You might only have to do this for one time. The dog's super motivated by whatever you're giving them, and they get super excited. Now, you can use your dog's meal for this. Like, the more you use their meal, the more motivated. If they learn, like, oh, this is how I'm getting most of my meal every day, they'll be super excited, and that'll kind of create, you know, the association that, oh, I'm getting my sustenance here through this, with this game, you know? So I'm gonna let her lick this a little bit because she's engaged out here, and that's okay. I'm not gonna make it a big deal and tell her no or anything like that right now. So we're just kind of just letting her do her thing. And this thing is basically like a Kong, you know? Like if you're working your dog with a Kong, basically want them to learn how to work a Kong. You start sometimes with some dogs don't know, you put some on the outside and then put it near the hole, and then they learn how to work in. So it's kind of like that, if that concept is helpful at all. I'm just gonna let her finish this peanut butter up. Good girl. But really, like I said, I'm building an association that this muzzle basically just presents good things, right? I don't want it to present an issue or confrontation early on. I want to really take my time with it. So now we're gonna use some hot dog. So what I'm gonna do is, I have like almost a full hot dog here. You don't have to use a hot dog. I know some people don't want to use hot dogs, they're not the healthiest thing. But for this, I'm using hot dog because I'll show you what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna see how it works with her. It's the first time we're using that. I'm gonna let her lick a little more too. She doesn't even want to lick anymore. So here, this front hole, I'm gonna put this hot dog in a little bit. I'm gonna let her come into this on her own. This is the only way she's gonna get this. And let's see. Good girl. And if you notice too, I'm not using any verbal commands right now. There's really not even a lot of talking. Kind of depends. I'm gonna pull away there just because she's trying to go into the whole muzzle. Now I'm gonna make it a little easier here for her. There we go. And we're just kind of troubleshooting as we go. So you see that she tried to eat it, the whole muzzle. She opened her mouth. So I just took it away and put the hot dog a little further in so that she can go right in for that hot dog and get it. I don't want to, you know, make it too difficult, but I'm gonna do it again. Good. And like I said, not a lot of talking, besides right now to you guys, but to the dog, I really don't need to say much. I don't even need to really praise them. It depends on the dog. Are they a nervous type of dog? Is it your dog? You know, are you training somebody's dog? But you know, some dogs are really nervy dogs, and if you talk to them too much, that's gonna cause problems too. So I like to just keep it chill, and that they're becoming one with the muzzle pretty much, all right? And then we can add verbal cues in later. But right now we're kind of just introducing this thing, and she's getting a little feisty, and that's okay. I want that drive to come out. I want her to get excited. But this is the first step to getting this thing to be able to be functionally worn later in time. I'll work this like this. I like how this is going with the hot dog. I'll probably stop doing the peanut butter now. I did 3 sessions like that. Now we'll go to something that she can, it could be kibble, it could be cheese, it could be whatever the dog really, really enjoys, and I'll reserve it specifically for this. So do a little more. And she's trying to eat the muzzle, but that's, you know, that's not a big deal. I'm gonna try it, there we go. I'm gonna go low here. So that worked a little bit. Maybe go to an angle. And I'll always end the session on a good note. Good. So, long story short, you don't want to rush the process. I didn't even touch the straps yet. That's going to be the next step, where I'll just kind of touch the straps and get her, as I'm feeding her, I'll get her used to, and I'm going to end it on a good note and just let her look the outside as we're talking. I'll get her used to the sensation of the straps jingling. I'll put them over her head if she's good with them jingling, and as I'm feeding. So that's the next step. Now obviously the next step will be to actually strap it and continue to feed. Very, very slow. I won't use any motion. I won't put the leash on. I won't bring a leash out usually either for the muzzle. I don't want them to think that we're going for a WALK. But sometimes that can be helpful too. For this situation, for her particularly, I don't think we need it. But long story short, again, I know I said that a lot, take your time. Step 1 is just getting the dog to willingly come into the muzzle. And you see here, there's at least a willingness to engage with it. That's really the first thing I should say. Willingness to engage with this thing and take something from it, lick it, whatever, rather than looking at this thing coming out and they're like, oh shit, right? We don't want an oh shit response with the muzzle. That's not what I want with it, at least. I want this to be, oh cool, I get to function and do fun things with this, and you know, I get food from it, whatever. So main goal is take our time, take it slow, don't jump ahead either. You know, my early days, I'm still young, I like to think. I used to move way too fast with a lot of stuff, and then you know what happens? You have to go backwards even longer. So consider that a little tidbit. Good girl. Cool. So yeah, phase 1 of muzzle conditioning. Have the dog engage with the muzzle, then willingly, like that, good girl, come into the muzzle, right? Good girl. All right, y'all.